always a better choice. Night one and only station.
DBS Radio. DBS News. Fresh in the morning. Eye-opening and balanced. The DBS Morning News starts right now.
The Business Training Center, BTC, announces expansions of its services to the public. Jamaica on course to meet PEP proficiency target, and Iran's foreign minister warns the U.S. involvement in conflict would be, quote, very dangerous. Good morning and welcome to the DBS Major Morning News. The details of these and other stories coming right up.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go!
Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digital TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951. DBS News.
Welcome to the DBS Major Morning News. I am your presenter this morning. My name is Joseph Farul. It is the 21st day of June 2025, and of course starting the official start of summer today. The first story we are bringing to you this morning, Director of the Business Training Center, Lucia Stedman, has announced that the institution has expanded by gaining GED or General Education Diploma Testing Center status. She says this is a major milestone for the Business Training Center, BTC. Her statement came at the graduation ceremony of the Business Training Center at the People's Pentecostal Family Church.
We are proud to announce that BTC has recently become an official GED testing center, a blessing that came exceedingly abundantly above what we initially envisioned, expanding our capacity to serve individuals seeking to complete their high school equivalency. This milestone represents God's favor, opening new pathways to education for all members of our community. So to expound a little on what the GED is, for those of you who will be familiar with the high school diploma system in the Commonwealth of Dominica and in the Caribbean, when we attend the regular high school and we do a group of CXC courses, we are given a high school diploma at the end of the year or at the end of 5 years, or whatever the school requirement is. The GED high school diploma is the international version of that. For students who dropped out of high school in whatever country, you can focus on the GED high school diploma, and that will give you entry into boarding schools, into any entry-level college, including, I hope, our very own Dominica State College.
She says the Business Training Center will continue its expansion with the launch of BTC Antigua and Dutch St. Martin.
As we celebrate today's accomplishments, we are already preparing for tomorrow's opportunities. BTC has a strategic plan, and you will see it unfold perhaps next week when we launch the BTC Antigua and the BTC St. Martin, Dutch St. Martin branch. As we speak, we are in the process of signing MOUs with Dominican businesses that exist in those two countries to allow Dominicans who reside in these two countries the opportunity to tap into Dominica's education. So look out for us, and we thank you so much for your support in our innovation as we provide hybrid education.
Director of the Business Training Center, BTC, Lucia Stedman. Acting Prime Minister Denise Charles Pemberton told the graduates of the Business Training Center that their skills will be needed as Dominica embarks on a plan to revive the economy.
Graduates, your calling is now. This is your season to build foundations, not fantasies, to make life choices that align with your goals, to choose discipline over distraction, consistency over applause. You are here to create, to innovate, and to lead. Dominica needs your vision to develop a resilient economy, to work on transformative projects like the International Airport, Cabrits Marina, hotels, cruise terminal, and cargo port. We want and need your contributions and talents to grow our tourism industry and aviation sector. We need you in maritime, health, agriculture, and the digital economy. Wherever your talent lies, we need your entrepreneurial spirit to take root and your industrious nature to rise to the occasion. The work ahead will not always be easy, but will always be worth it. Let your faith be your compass, let your character be your anchor, and let your passion be your power.
Acting Prime Minister Denise Charles Pemberton, Kervin Mitchell was named the outstanding student of the Business Training Center. Well, staying with some education news, this time from the Grade 6 National Assessment standpoint, a 12-year-old student of the St. Martin's Primary School has topped the 2025 Grade 6 National Assessment. Well, the top 5 students of the 2025 Grade 6 National Assessment were announced during a press conference yesterday.
Present to you the top 5 students this year. So we have Amelia A.K. Stevens, St. Martin Primary. We have Peyton N.M. Hillary, or Hile, Petit Savan. Kasnaya Kazimi, Newtown Primary. Kinaya Riviere, St. John's Academy. And Eliana Girodel, St. Martin's Primary.
That was Minister for Education Octavia Alfred. 86 students received scholarships while 108 students were awarded bursaries. DBS Radio's news editor Curtis Matthews spoke with the top performer at the Grade 6 National Assessment, Amelia Stephen of the St. Martin's Primary School.
Well, you can become so overstimulated that you don't have emotion. Like me, I don't like to cry in front of people, to be honest, but it's so much joy. You can't really explain. Yeah.
No, you woke up this morning knowing that the results were going to be released today, or if not today, you got wind of that in the course of the weekend. What was the feeling like?
The feeling, I was very nervous, to be honest. I was like, A for math, because math is my best subject. Language, maybe it will be a little but then turns out I actually got an A. Wow. And then there is socials and science. Social is not really my best subject, but I still did good. I'm really surprised.
Right. Can you give us a hint, an idea, what caused you to place so very high in the exams this year? I suspect a lot of studies and so on.
Yes, as long as you're consistent with your studying and your homework and your grades, like you always have to do your homework, your assignments, everything, and then you would become higher improvements, and you become, I can't even find the words.
How does it feel to be the #1 student in Dominica at the exams?
Oh, I feel, like I said, I'm so overstimulated, but I can't even do too much movement. I feel overjoyed. I feel like so much relief, the worries. I can't even find the words again.
But you are going to get yourself ready for secondary school in September.
Yes, I'm so excited. A new chapter in your life, being a new chapter in your life.
DBS Radio Sport news editor Curtis Matthews was speaking with the top performer of the Grade 6 National Assessment, Amelia Stephen of the St. Martin's Primary School. Well, DBS News also spoke with Eliana Girodel of the St. Martin's Primary School, who came in 5th.
It makes me feel very proud, and it makes me feel very blessed that I'm here today collecting this award and being interviewed by so many people. It just makes me feel proud, and it makes me look on my hard work over the nights and so on, and all the people that helped me.
Tell us about the studies for the exams. What did you have to do to get to this level?
For the studies for the exam, I had to go deep in my research. I had to really like the new things that I didn't know. I had to look at videos and so on to understand it deeper and analyze it properly.
Any final words to your parents, your teachers?
I want to thank God first, and I want to thank my mom for being with me till the candle burned out. I want to thank my father who gave me the general knowledge to be here today. I want to thank my tutors and my teachers for helping me and advancing me. And I want to thank my family members like my aunties and my uncles and my cousins for the motivation.
Eliana Giradel of the St. Martin's Primary School Education Minister Octavia Alfred says moving forward, the national assessment will take a different format.
I will say maybe it will not be common entrance, but it will be a grade 6 national assessment. We have national assessment at grade 2 and we have national assessments at grade 4. So we will have a national assessment at the end of grade 6, but it will not be in that format. We are now looking at how it will be presented, but there will be an assessment. There may also be a national assessment for grade 3 and grade 5, which means that the schools will not prepare end of year exam, but the Ministry of Education will provide the assessment and all the schools will do it, and that would speak to the curriculum officers a whole lot more than every school writing their own end of year exam. So I think the grade 2 and grade 4 assessments have taken root and people are now accustomed with them, and it will have a grade 6 assessment, but not like common entrance or so, but there will be a grade 6 national assessment.
Minister for Education Octavia Alfred. Acting Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise says students performed better this year than in previous years.
Today, the Ministry of Education is proud, notwithstanding that we had a slight decline in the number of students who wrote the exams, that our students performed even better at this year's assessment than in the previous year. We're also proud to share with the general public that well over 25%, that is about 1/4 of our students who wrote the examination this year obtained scholarship and bursaries combined. That's 1/4 of the population. We are also happy to indicate that many of our students performed very well in all subject areas. From the analysis, we can also conclude that the size of the school or the population has very little influence on student output. As a result, students are able to shine in small schools, in medium-sized schools, and even in large schools, in whichever education environment that provides adequate support structures for student learning. And that is important. It's not the size of the school that matters, but it's the structures that we provide for students.
Acting Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise. 63 students have said goodbye to the Castlebury Secondary School. 16-year-old Anthea John Charles was named valedictorian of the 2025 graduating class. Kitara Eustace captured the Salutatorian Award. Nathaniel Roberts and Tara Vigilant were named Student of the Year. Senior Fontaine was named the Sportsman of the Year, while Sportswoman of the Year went to Kenisha Demizine. Senior Fontaine received the award for the Most Improved Student. 2025 Calypso Monarch Joy Stout delivered the feature address at the Castlebury Secondary School graduation. Minister for Education and MP for Castlebury Octavia Alfred also delivered remarks at the graduation ceremony. Let's move to news in Jamaica right now in the region, where Jamaica is on course to meet the national minimum proficiency target of 85% in the primary exit profile or PEP. Minister of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, made the disclosure during a press briefing in Jamaica. Well, she said in the 2025 sitting of the PEP, 63 and 69% of the students were deemed proficient or highly proficient in mathematics and language arts. For science and social studies, 70 and 72% of students respectively scored in the proficient or highly proficient categories. Among the 4 subjects, mathematics had the highest percentage of students at the developing level at 34%. followed by science at 28%. Let's move to news on the international scene, where Iran's foreign minister says the United States' U.S. involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict would be, quote, very, very dangerous, unquote. Abbas Araghchi is in Istanbul, Turkey, to continue diplomatic talks over Iran's nuclear program. He says talks with the U.S. cannot go ahead while the country is under bombardment. Iran says at least 340 people have been killed in the country since the conflict began on June 13th, as Israel reports continuing Iranian attacks, while the Israel Defense Force says they have assassinated Iranian commander Saeed Izzadi in the northeastern city of Qom overnight. Elsewhere, U.S. Director of National Intelligence says Iran could produce nuclear weapons within weeks after Donald Trump, U.S. President, said she was wrong on Iran. That's the DBS Major Morning News. Of course, stay tuned for the best in sports coming up next right here on DBS.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Just Mobank me. Here's my ID.
Just Mobank me. It's that easy.
The faster, easier way to bank. NBD makes it easy to bank online, anywhere, at any time with Mobanking. The faster, easier way to bank.
The faster, easier way.
So transfer funds on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
To pay your bills with Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
So order checks on Mobanking.
The faster, easier
Pay employees
way.
on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way to bank.
Plus, you can now top up your phone on Mobanking. No need for cash or card. Simply log into Mobanking to top up your phone. Visit nbdominica.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more details.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD.
Your partner, your bank.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
Well, welcome to the DBS Major Morning Sports Report. Let's begin with some good news for the Connect 767 East Central football team. And of course, that's in the Dominica Football Association DFA Round 2 Premier League. Well, Connect 767 East Central picked up their first win of the season, getting past Petro Caribe Point Michel as Round 2 of the Dominica Football Association DFA Premier League got underway last night at the DFA Technical Center. East Central put on their best performance of the season as they put 5 past Point Michel, scoring 5 of course. Kurt Stout, Shamani Graham, Neilbert Thomas, Randolph Peltier and Elijah Roll got a goal each as East Central won 5-2. Kyle Del Sol and Daniel Dupini scored for Point Michel. Well, the win moves East Central out of the bottom position and of course now puts them 5 points into 9th place on the points table. Meantime, the Premier League continues today with Promex Harlem taking on Valvoline We United at the DFA Technical Center at 4:30 p.m. and the Roosevelt Skerrit Bombers FC will play Belfast Estate Maho Soccer Strikers at Benjamin Park. And the league leaders, the Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla FC, will take on Sagicor Southeast at the DFA Technical Center. That game scheduled for 7 o'clock. Let's bowl over to some cricket news right now. Tasman Brits continued to be a thorn in the side of the West Indies women's team as they were sent crashing to a defeat in the first T20 in Barbados on Friday. While South Africa batted first and posted an imposing 183 for 6 in their 20 overs. Tasman Brits hit 98 all out of 63 balls not out. Jazara Clarkston picked up 3 for 39 and Afi Fletcher 1 for 40. While the Windies chasing 184 to win again struggled with the bat as they were at 49 for 5 at one point. Janelia Glasgow made her maiden T20 half century to lift the West Indies in the end score of 133 for 6. Glasgow got 53 not out and Chanel Henry made 26. South Africa won by 50 runs. Here now is the West Indies captain, Hayley Matthews.
We probably didn't use the wicket as well as we wanted to. Found it was a bit slow, but probably ended up bowling just a bit too full on a wicket like that, giving them the opportunity to hit down the ground.
Anything that you perhaps could have done differently if given the chance again, and how can you restrain or restrict Tasman Brits?
Yeah, I think just be more disciplined with our lengths for sure. I think that's probably something that South Africa did really well today. I think especially when Chanel Henry was at the crease, someone who's quite similar to Tasman Brits with the way they go about their batting. And we saw how disciplined they were with their lengths, making sure that she didn't have any step hits to go into. So probably just being able to manage that and execute that a bit better.
A loss today, but some positives. Clarkson, a wicket in each of her 3 overs. Glasgow with a career best first T20 half century. Positives?
Yeah, 100%. I think every match we've had so far, some of the younger girls have stepped up and we've seen break spurts and then doing really well. Clarkson, this will be about her second or third game now, and obviously Glasgow getting her first 50 is really, really good sign, so still a lot of positives to take out of everything for sure.
Yeah, not much time between this one and the next one. How do you get your group ready for that?
Yeah, well, still a lot to play for, obviously. You know, it's a 3-match series and 2 to go, so still 100% in it with a chance. We just have to recoup to be able to come back and play some really good cricket.
West Indies captain Hayley Matthews. The Windies trail 1-0 in the series. The second T20 takes place on Sunday. Dominica's cricketers will have another opportunity to impress the selectors as they participate in 2 trial matches this weekend. Dominica is continuing with preparations for the Windward Islands Senior Men's Tournament. Dominica is the defending champions in that competition, and that competition will get underway in July in St. Lucia. The first trial match is scheduled for Benjamin's Park this morning. The second trial match is on Sunday at the Botanic Gardens. Staying with some cricket, West Indies head coach Darren Sammy says there is no personal vendetta against Kavem Hodge and Alec Athanas, and says the reason to drop them was based solely on recent performances. The Dominican cricketing public has been up in arms over the dropping of the 2 players. Well, Sammy says that performances over the years were not up to standard.
I think we're doing Hodge and Kavem a disservice by glorifying an average of 25 in Test cricket, thinking that myself and Miles and whoever and Jamal has some personal vendetta, against any player. We are trying to create an environment that, breeds success, breeds excellence, and we need to keep on challenging. And it shows the state our cricket is right now, when players or batsmen averaging below 35 seems undroppable in our system, and that shows how poor our system is, for us to be really talking about a 25 average. And I don't think, for me, and for the direction we're heading, I don't think that will not bring us success. And if I'm pretty sure Hodge and Kavem, they're listening, and any other young cricketer in the team that we're trying to build, and the stuff that we have to do in order for us to compete against Australia, we cannot glorify those type of performances. And this test cycle starting fresh, we're trying to create a direction, trying to create a brand, and and explaining roles that is required for that brand and for it to be executed in order for us to be successful. So I do understand Dominicans. I'm pretty sure when I was not playing for a West Indies team, St. Lucians would feel the same way. And that's why I have vowed as a leader to not bring my emotions into my decision making.
West Indies head coach Darren Sammy. Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom says the West Indies are moving in another direction with the non-inclusion of Kemar Roach for the Test series against Australia. Roach, who is the West Indies' leading wicket taker in the Test cricket amongst active bowlers, is not in the 16-man squad for the series, which gets underway next week in Barbados. Miles Bascom says that while Roach will still have a role to play with the team, the time has come for the West Indies to explore other fast bowling options.
Kemar has been excellent for West Indies. And, we had the conversation with him, we spoke to him, we let him know the direction that we wanted to go. And, it was no slight on what he has done for West Indies cricket, right? But again, we're planning World Test Championship 27 on to 29, and, at some point we have to be able to really put down some markers that, we are planning for the future, right? So yes, it wasn't the easiest of conversations to have, and, it's difficult in one breath to tell someone that you're moving on, but in the same breath, try to get them to understand that, that it's no slight on their contribution to West Indies cricket. But as I said, I just wanted to ensure that we had that conversation only out of respect for what he did. So myself, the head coach, we were part of that discussion. But yeah, I think that at some point we had to move on, and at the start of a new Test championship, I think it's a good a time as any.
Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom. Let's bounce over to some basketball news, where the 2025 national basketball season will tip off tonight at the Massac Indoor Facility. The Trafalgar-based Hilltop Services Prowlers will be making a return to the Premier League as they will be in action tonight. They will take on last year's Premier League finalists, the Pebush Super Eagles, in the only match this weekend. That game tips off at 8 p.m. at the Massac Indoor Facility. Let's move to some regional sports news, where Jamaica's opposition spokesman on sports, former West Indies player Wavell Hines, has criticized the Prime Minister's visit to inspect the installation of the new lighting infrastructure at Sabina Park. He has described it as a poor attempt by the Jamaican government to compensate for Jamaica missing out on the ICC T20 World Cup. The lighting at Sabina Park is being installed at the cost of approximately $75 million. Hines says while any investment in sports is welcome, the upgrade is a case of too little, too late.
This fanfare is an inadequate attempt by the government to cover up its massive failure in deciding not to bid for the International Cricket Council Men's T20 World Cup 2024. It is nothing short of scandalous that this government failed to submit a bid to host cricket matches despite the ICC extending the bid deadline to accommodate late bids in the case of Jamaica, despite negotiations with the government of India for the scoreboard from as early as 2023, long before the World Cup. Had Jamaica participated, thousands of Jamaicans, including vendors, hotels, taxi operators, small businesses, would have benefited enormously. This uncaring JLP administration has failed cricket, failed sports. Apart from photo ops, statues, and handshakes with athletes who succeed despite the lack of support, they have done little to advance the sporting sector.
Jamaica's opposition spokesman on sports, former West Indies player Wavell Hines, taking us to the end of the DBS Major Morning News and Sports this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, a few programming reminders for this morning and into tomorrow. It's a two-part series of Connecting the Dots starting from 9 o'clock this morning. That's going to be compliments of the wonderful folks at Bullseye Pharmacy. It's the St. Andrews High School Grand Reunion, July 2025, Part 1. And then the sixth form Cicero Singers come through right after. Of course, great programming throughout the day. Ivona John Baptist Luge, Nigel Francis will be on with that. Great programming, and of course, the next major news is at 1:15 this afternoon. DG Fun Time, and of course, You Vibes squeeze through during the day. His Excellency Ambassador Leroy Prince Wadix Charles comes through from 3 o'clock this afternoon, and Dr. Miguel Labadie takes you through from 8. Tune in to DBS Presents 2 p.m. tomorrow. Listen to a 100 Grades Dominicans production on the late Bagatelle native Ralph Stanley Fidel, former member of the House of Assembly. He studied agriculture and was the manager of Stowe Estate. He also started the local chapter of the Dominica JCs. That's tomorrow from 2. And then from 7 on the Laku Experience tomorrow from 7. Host Cecil Joseph and co-host Hartley Adams speak to Medina Bellot of Great Marlborough Street, Roseau. Medina Bellot will share stories of her childhood days in Roseau and surrounding communities, memorable moments of school life, and more. That's tomorrow from 7. That will also be streamed on the DBS Radio YouTube channel. Speaking of the YouTube channel, it's very easy. You go to YouTube, look for DBS Radio, and it's very simple. Subscribe to the channel, and of course, all the radio stations, television programming is on there. If you missed anything, for example, you missed the grade 6 national assessment yesterday, you can check it out. It's available there, and there's no subscription fee to it. It's absolutely free. That's the channel, the television channel of DBS Radio. It's of course available to you on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us on the DBS Major Morning News. Of course, the next newscast will be at 1:15 this afternoon. On behalf of the News and Sports Department, I was your presenter this morning, Joseph Fadul.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Just Mobank me. Here's my ID.
Just Mobank me. It's that easy.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD makes it easy to bank online, anywhere, at any time with Mobanking. The faster, easier way to bank.
The faster, easier way.
So transfer funds on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
To pay your bills with Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
So order checks on Mobanking.
The faster, easier
Pay employees
way.
on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way to bank.
Plus, you can now top up your phone on Mobanking. No need for cash or card. Simply log into Mobanking to top up your phone. Visit nbdominica.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more details.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD.
Your partner, your bank.
Let's bring you this morning's presentation or edition of the insert of the package right here on DBS. This morning's insert of the package is brought to you compliments of the wonderful folks at A&A Low Price Center.
A&A Low Price Center in the village of Calabishi offers the best prices for the freshest products ever. One-stop convenient shopping at A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi. For your foods, your everyday needs, snacks, liquor, dry goods, and more. Just about everything located in the flat of Calabishi, directly in the center of the village. Come to A&A Low Price Center on the highway in Calabishi. A&A Low Price Center is family owned and operated. It is fully computerized, VAT compliant, low toll, credit card and top-up capabilities. Stop at A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi today or call 445-7655. Drop us an email at analowprice@gmail.com. A&A Low Price Center in